So already starting to see a bit of a smartphone trend in 2025, basically do it again, but a wee bit slimmer. Which brings us on to the REDMAGIC 10 Air, a slightly lighter, not quite as chunky version of the dedicated gaming smartphone. You've still got most of the best gaming features packed in here and some pretty slick performance, but what sacrifices have been made? Well, I've already reviewed the REDMAGIC 10 Pro, so here's how the REDMAGIC 10 Air stacks up. And for more on the latest and greatest tech, please do subscribe and ding that notifications bell. Cheers! Now, first up, the REDMAGIC 10 Air is probably the most normal looking gaming smartphone that I've seen in quite some time. Of course, you've still got some fairly obvious hints here and there, such as the bright red magic key, as it's known, to, of course, the touch-sensitive triggers slapped on the opposite edge. But you know, there's nothing here that absolutely screams in your face gaming phone. Well, not until you switch on the obligatory bit of RGB lighting, that is. But even then, it's hardly a full-on techno-rave effort. Now, the REDMAGIC 10 Air weighs just 205 grams, so yeah, it's certainly still got a proper heft to it, but compared with some absolute bricks that call themselves gaming smartphones, it's not too bad. And it's just a wee bit under 8mm thick, so not particularly slender, although again, not a proper full-on chunkster like a lot of gaming blowers. Now, just like the REDMAGIC 10 Pro before it, you got that gorgeous full view finish courtesy of a discreet selfie cam that's tucked away underneath the screen. You can see it if you squint proper hard, you know exactly where you're looking, but otherwise pretty much hidden from sight. You've got yourself a brushed aluminium alloy frame sandwiched between a perfectly flat bit of glass front and back. Now, this right here is the Hailstone model, so basically white. But you can also grab yourself the REDMAGIC 10 Air in Twilight, which is black, or Flare, which is a kind of bright, bold, in-your-face orange. Apparently that Flare model won't be hitting the UK for another couple of months though, sad face. And no transparent model this time around apparently, at least not yet. You've got this lovely matte finish on the back end, which is perfectly resistant to grimy fingerprints and other muck. Only a subtle bit of branding slapped on that arse end, which actually blends in pretty well. And then quite dinky wee camera bumps arranged kind of similar to the S25 series. So thankfully not much jiggle action when this phone is lying on its back. And sadly not fully water resistant, the REDMAGIC 10 Air is IP54 splash and dust resistant. So it can handle a bit of gaming in the rain, but definitely don't go dropping it and submerging it in water. So a bit of Wuthering Waves in a bubbly bath, probably not a good idea. Now, when you want to get stuck into a bit of gaming, well, first you'll have to unlock the bugger, and the REDMAGIC 10 Air sports your basic bog standard in-display optical fingerprint sensor. Thankfully, this does the job absolutely fine. As you can see there, pretty responsive, fast to act. And I've had zero jip from the thing since I've been testing it out these past couple of days. And then once you're in, what you're presented with is a good bit of REDMAGIC OS 10 slapped on top of Android 15. And no real difference here in terms of the general layout of the UI and the features that are packed into that software versus the REDMAGIC 10 Pro. Just be aware that REDMAGIC doesn't tend to be super generous when it comes to OS upgrades and years of security patching. You can generally only expect a couple of years of support, maybe 3 or so at a stretch. But in better news, you do have a full 0.5 terabyte of storage space, so plenty of room even for massive chunksters like Genshin Impact. As always, you can fully personalize that REDMAGIC experience. Got some pretty decent themes packed on here. All the usual futuristic-y, techie shenanigans as you'd expect. Otherwise, if you don't want to go with a preset theme, you can also just change up the wallpaper, the app icons, the animations, right down to the effects on the old fingerprint sensor. And yes, of course, you can fully customize the old light strip on the back. So you can completely kill it if you're not really a fan. Otherwise, you can have it flashing or pulsing or whatever you fancy for incoming calls when you receive a message, when the phone is charging, yada yada yada. And while you can't fully customize the colors, you've got a reasonable selection of presets to choose between. And then of course there's the magic key, which by default loads up the game space. Now from here you can just jump straight into all of your installed games. You can also mess around with the settings for your individual games, boosting the performance for any more intensive titles, and also playing around with settings like the screen sensitivity and preventing the old edge accidental touches. And from game space you've also got full access to Mora, the REDMAGIC assistant. And if you haven't been acquainted with Mora in the past, well, just imagine Alexa if she was incredibly horny and you could play dress up together.
I'm warning you, Commander. You're making a risky move.
Honestly, who needs Genshin Impact when you got this?
Hey, there are no switches there.
You tell them, Mora. Get HR involved. You got all kinds of Mora-related features, including a special animation when you're charging the phone. You got live wallpapers. Mora Live, which is basically a virtual avatar that can sit there at the bottom of your screen if you're live streaming a game or whatever and pretend to be you. So as you can see, she's reacting to the fact that I'm speaking right now. I'm not sure if my eyes twitch quite as much as hers do. I haven't had that much crystal meth this morning. And there's even a Mora alarm to get you up in the morning. Well, I do love an early rise. Oh, and did I mention that she also now speaks a range of languages, including Italian and Portuguese?
Cuando me enojo, incluso yo me asusto.
Spare pair of pants alert. Anyway, enough buggering about. Let's get on to the slightly more serious topic of gaming performance. And the REDMAGIC 10R is powered by Qualcomm's Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 chipset. Now this has of course been replaced subsequently by the fresher, beefier Snapdragon 8 Elite, which was the brains of the REDMAGIC 10 Pro. But 8 Gen 3 still packs a good bit of grunt, and it's backed here by 16 gigs of RAM. And REDMAGIC has still stuffed in its Red Core version 3 chip as well, which just handles some of the gaming features, taking a little bit of the stress off of that main processor. Now as usual, when you're in a game, you can drag out the old REDMAGIC toolbar like so. And then you've got a variety of gaming performance modes to choose from, including Eco if you're just playing something very simple and straightforward, all the way up to Rise, which is designed for your Genshin Impact, your Wuthering Waves, etc. You've also got a big old variety of tools here. You can optimize the smartphone to cull any background tasks, etc. Make sure you've got the maximum amount of memory and everything available. All of the classics like charge bypass, so you can keep the phone powered up without charging the battery at the same time and thus risking overheating. All of the usual do not disturb type shenanigans. And you do also have a frame rate boost tool in here as well, which works for a select number of games, including Genshin Impact and Call of Duty. You can try turning it on for the likes of Wuthering Waves, but it'll do bugger all. And you've got loads more tools tucked away here on the left edge as well for changing up the sensitivity. Again, you've got the likes of Scout mode to make enemies more visible. You can switch on some crosshairs if you're having trouble with your aim. The toolbar is certainly feature dense, a little bit too dense potentially, so make sure you have a good explore and know exactly what is going on here. But anyway, as you would probably expect, even though you haven't got the latest freshest Snapdragon 8 Elite stuffed in here, the REDMAGIC 10R can cope admirably with anything you chuck at it. Like so Wuthering Waves, I chucked that in the highest possible graphics settings, maxed everything out. And when I played it on this blower with the high performance mode enabled, I found that frame rate stuck consistently to around the sort of 59, 60 frames per second level. Didn't see a single drop off the entire time. And likewise, Call of Duty Mobile played beautifully. I stuck it on the 120Hz fast refresh mode, and that action was silky smooth. With this sort of thing clutched in my midst, I feel like I've actually got somewhat of a semblance of a chance against all those unwashed 14-year-olds who play this bloody thing 8 hours a day. And on the coolant front, you've got a massive, great big vapor chamber stuffed in here as always, and all the usual liquid metal coolant shenanigans, but you do not get a built-in fan. Kind of understandable given they wanted something that was slimmer and lighter. Now, unfortunately, I did find that the REDMAGIC 10R does get rather hot after about sort of 30 to 40 minutes of non-stop Wuthering Waves action. I was worried that this would start to throttle the performance, but even after a couple of hours of gaming, touch wood, that frame rate didn't visibly drop. And according to the stats, it's still stuck in those sort of high 50s. But of course, you will want to use the bypass charging feature if you're going to leave this thing plugged in while gaming, because I can see it definitely overheating and starting to throttle in those circumstances. And it's good to see the REDMAGIC 10R still sporting those super responsive 520Hz shoulder triggers. As always, you can activate these in the gaming toolbar, and then super simple to set up. Just drag the on-screen icons to whichever virtual buttons you want them to trigger. There's absolutely zero lag from these things. You get a nice little bit of haptic feedback as well. So even though they're not actual proper push-in triggers, you do get that kind of response from them. And the REDMAGIC 10R also sports the usual X-axis linear motor for a proper bit of haptic feedback. And as always, I'm a big fan of that 6.8-inch AMOLED display, proper full view effort thanks to the under display selfie cam. That under display selfie camera is not obvious at all when you're gaming, watching video, etc. Again, you'd have to squint really hard to really notice it. You've got a 2480 by 1116 pixel resolution, so visuals pretty crispy despite the fact that this is a whopping great big off screen. It's reasonably bright when you max it out, although if you are playing any murky affair, if you're lurking in a cave or a dungeon in the likes of Wuthering Waves, you will struggle if you've got any glare reflecting off the display. And the screen does max out at 120Hz rather than 144Hz, but certainly my knackered old grandad eyes can't tell the difference. And it's worth mentioning though that the official specs didn't mention anything about PWM dimming, so if you are sensitive to OLED flicker, you might want to check up on that one. You've got yourself a pretty ruddy loud stereo speaker setup here on the REDMAGIC 10 Air as well, an earpiece speaker and an edge mounted bottom speaker. And when you throw the volume all the way up, proper powerful. Got full DTS:X Ultra support on this thing, and the Bluetooth streaming absolutely fine as well, but no headphone jack anywhere on the REDMAGIC 10 Air, so you are stuck with a bit of the wireless streaming, or you can use a USB dongle thing, I guess, if you want. And the battery capacity has shrunk a wee bit versus the REDMAGIC 10 Pro, so in the Air you've got a 6000 mAh capacity cell, still nothing to be sniffed at, of course. And with the maximum performance settings running at 120Hz, the likes of Call of Duty Mobile will take approximately 10 to 11 full hours to completely drain the REDMAGIC 10 Air. However, I did find that Wuthering Waves sapped that battery rather fast. In fact, on the maximum performance settings again, this game only ran for 3.5 hours from a fully charged battery. This game absolutely leeches that power, so certainly if you are massively addicted to the likes of Wuthering Waves, you'll want to bung a cable in it, get that battery bypass feature on the go, and at least you can keep on gaming all afternoon long. Well, the good news is you got super fast charging on here. Bung a cable in the bottom of the REDMAGIC 10 Air, and you'll find around 40 minutes is enough to boost it back up to full, courtesy of the 80-watt wired charging support, although sadly there is bugger all wireless charging support. And of course, when it comes to the camera tech, this seems to be sadly neglected on the majority of gaming smartphones, but let's have a squint at what we got here on the REDMAGIC 10 Air. And this simply appears to be the exact same hardware as the REDMAGIC 10 Pro, so a 50 meg OmniVision OV50E primary shooter with optical image stabilization, backed by a secondary 50 meg OmniVision OV50D ultra-wide angle shooter. And yep, you got the usual full-on pro controls if you want them to tweak the white balance, the ISO levels, etc. on the fly. You can shoot in RAW if you want to. Got all the usual obligatory camera modes, including a bit of portrait action, a Milky Way night mode if you want to shoot the stars. And if you swap to the video mode, you can actually record up to 8K resolution footage at 30 frames per second, otherwise 4K at 30 or 60 FPS. But of course, you might be more interested in that under-display selfie camera. Is it actually any good? And unfortunately, the answer there is no, it's kind of pants. You can, if you want to, shoot a bit of full HD 1080p footage using that front-facing under-display selfie camera, but again, expect it to look a bit murky, not particularly attractive. That's got nothing to do with the fact that it's aimed at my ugly mug. And there you have it, my lovelies. That in a tasty wee nutshell is the fresh new REDMAGIC 10 Air. Now, impressed with the design and everything, but as you can see, some sacrifices have been made in order to slim it down. The performance is still excellent despite using the previous generation Snapdragon flagship chipset, but it is a shame they did have to rip out that internal fan, because that did help to keep the REDMAGIC 10 Pro nice and cool, even when you were gaming on the likes of Genshin Impact, Wuthering Waves, etc. for the foreseeable. Personally, I'd rather just go with the slightly chunkier Pro and have that latest freshest Snapdragon 8 Elite and the dedicated cooling system with the fan and everything. But hey, if you want something a bit more slimline, a bit more portable, etc., then yeah, REDMAGIC 10 Air is there for you. And that's what this haggard old northern tosspot reckons anyway, but it'd be great to hear your thoughts on the REDMAGIC 10 Air down in the comments below. Please do subscribe, ding that notifications bell for more on the latest and greatest tech, and have yourselves a ruddy, wonderful rest of the week. Cheers everyone, love you!